I'm so happy today to talk to Troy Bridgeforth, 5 generations of cotton farming. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Valerie, for letting me be here to share my story, especially on this stage with so many courageous people who've come. I did notice that you had quite a few veterans here, so thank you for your service for all the veterans who've been on the stage already. I too served in the Navy 10 years, and I think we got the Armed Forces well represented here.
Thank you.
I kind of brought up the military because I spent my time as an instructor, and what you learn is that the thing that people fear the most is public speaking. And so for all the people who got on the stage today and especially spoke without a panel, that's amazing. So clap goes to those people who had the courage to do it.
Thank you. And you have the courage to show up. And I want to start off drawing attention to this incredible piece of art.
That it is.
Edward Dwight was we heard earlier today from 2 incredible astronauts. Edward Dwight was the first African American to be selected into the astronaut corps. And yet JFK selected him. And after JFK was killed, because of the environment we were in, there were some people in NASA that said, no, I will not go up with him. And they denied him the opportunity to go up. And earlier we talked about community and what happens when you can compound compassion. And so imagine having so much attention that's positive, that says, no, you're going. And he explains that his mother, it's not like he wanted to be an astronaut. His mother said, you have to do this for the people and for history. So he said, yes, I'm going to do it, and he was denied. So he had to pivot. And he tried different jobs and started different companies, and then at the age of 40, he graduates from the MFA, and he's become an incredible sculptorist. And the title is Hands That Pick Cotton Now Cast Ballots. And it's really beautiful. And as we're talking about 5 generations of cotton owners, I thought it's appropriate to highlight this. And let me finish the story. You heard earlier from Bernard Harris and Victor Glover. And they got together and said, this is wrong. What can we do to right a wrong? And so several people got together and said, let's raise money for Ed so that now he can go up. And today, last year, he went up in space because Jeff Bezos and others, and what is referred to as the Afronauts, helped raise money to make sure that Ed had the opportunity to go up. And he's now the oldest to have gone up in space. And we had a dinner here last year, and he said, and Victor and Ed were there when he went up. And he said, I told my wife all these years, I didn't need this. I didn't need this. And he turned around and he says, I needed this. I really needed it. So tell us a little bit about your journey. And as we look to the past, let's talk about where we are and our future.
Since we've come out with Bridgeforth Cotton, and we've had opportunities for me to do these type of talks, and we've had opportunities to work with some global brands, there's a lot of curiosity around farming, particularly black farming. And then, as you mentioned, as it has been mentioned, it can be controversial that we're into cotton because it does have a checkered past. But I think it's meaningful for us that we get a chance to take ownership of that story, right? It's about things can only be negative to you if you allow them to be negative to you, right? So I'm very fortunate and appreciative that I have the privilege to sit here and tell this story. My family started farming by choice about 150 years ago in 1877.
By choice. I love that.
Right. And also we have a longer history with farming that wasn't by our choice. But when the moment for us to have a choice, we still took that choice, and my family knew that we need to focus on land ownership and having production and being productive, because when you're productive, you have the ability to be equal and beyond. And for me personally, now living in the world we do, I just recognize that we can't consume our way to equality, which is sometimes the message that gets conveyed.
That's great. And how did you get that opportunity to buy the land, and how much land was it that your family purchased?
Well, And like I said, it's kind of checkered. So my great-great-grandfather, 5 generations ago, was a slave, and you can look at my complexion and tell that there was some intermingling. Apparently, the slave owner was my great-great-great-great-grandfather's father, and apparently a benevolent, if you can say that, person who followed the law. Once the Emancipation Proclamation came around, set all his slaves that he had ownership of free, and granted my grandfather 300 acres of land, right? So also allowed my grandfather to educate himself and his children. 2 of his sons, George Ruffin Bridgeforth and my grandfather back in the past, Ike, were on their way to Tuskegee, right, to link up with George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington. And they stopped in North Alabama, and the guy they were bragging about, they were going to Tuskegee, and some guys told them, well, if you're going to Tuskegee, then you want to stop in North Alabama and see some beautiful farmland. And then they stopped, they looked at it, they wrote back to Southern Tennessee, where George Bridgeforth was, the founder of our family, and they decided to trade the 300 acres they had in Tennessee for 600 acres in North Alabama, and we've been rooted there ever since. And now we've grown our operation to where we own over 3,000 acres and we farm over 10,000 acres every year.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you. So let's look at, now that's a little bit about the past. Let's talk about where you are now and what are you doing. As we've spoken, you're doing some great business with some major brands.
That's right.
Now let's share.
Our biggest partnership that we have now that I'm most proud of is our partnership with Victoria's Secret, right? So over the past 3 years, we've supplied enough cotton to Victoria's Secret that they've made over 50 million women's undergarments with our cotton directly, right? But also, they've embraced our passion and our cause. They also fund us so that they support our scholarship and our internship programs. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were able to take our interns from Tuskegee and from Alabama A&M to New York City, so they got that New York City experience for the first time.
That's fantastic. That's great. And on that scholarship, you are taking students from high school or colleges, and are you introducing them to the field of cotton? Tell us about the scholarship, or not.
No, we focus on students that are a wide swath of places, either from agriculture, environmental sciences, or they can be technology students as well. And we take them in any year of college, right? We will take high school students as well. Farming is so technologically driven right now, right? There was a time when I remember my grandfather, we were all about community, and if someone had trouble with the law or they just weren't doing what they need to do, parents would bring him, drop him off at the farm and say, do something with him, right? And we could do that because there was a lot of manual labor to be done, and you could do it. In this age of farming, every piece of equipment that we have is technologically driven. We have GPS-guided tractors. The information systems that we have on our tractors rival anything that you have in any corporate office. We just don't have the ability to focus on manual labor now. It's all technology-driven, and you need that for efficiency in order to even make it in this industry, I should say.
You have a very rich story, and it's exciting to see how you've taken your history and transformed it into your future through technology and passion and commitment. What might be your ask of your audience, if anything?
Be a conscious consumer, I would say. It doesn't hurt to do well when you do good, and it certainly doesn't hurt to support brands that want to help other people when they do what they do. I definitely would encourage everyone to look at our story. Look at bridgeforthcotton.com. Lean to me for people who have previous land ownership in their family and don't know what to do with some of the land, because that's one of the things that we also do, right? There's lots of people who have air land in places because, like you went to Philadelphia, there's a lot of people whose family left the South and they migrated. Now they have land in the South, a couple of acres, 100 acres. They don't know what to do with it. And a lot of times those things get caught up in tax struggles and the land just gets taken for pennies on the dollar, right? And so reach out to people like me, families like mine that can give you some information to kind of help you manage that, right? Spread the word. Let people know that we are not extinct. We are an endangered species, but black farmers still do exist, and we're happy to do it. I'm continuing the legacy as a 5th generation, and I'm very, very committed to making sure that the 6th generation and 7th generation are able to continue to do the thing that we're working on now.
Thank you so much. We're so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.